6-Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello and welcome to 6-Minute English. I'm Alice.
And I'm Rob. Hey, Alice, I read in the paper recently that the substance called fluoride might be bad for our health, but it's in nearly every brand of toothpaste, isn't it?
You shouldn't believe everything you hear, Rob. Fluoride protects our teeth against decay.
But there's a theory that drug companies are using fluoride to affect our brains and make us all dumb.
That's ridiculous, Rob.
Well, I'm not sure if I believe it or not, but it's worrying me.
Do you also worry that the moon landings never really happened?
It's funny you should mention that because, yes, I wonder about this too. Apparently, in the 1960s television footage of the moon landing, the American flag is fluttering. And there's no air on the moon, so the US government must have faked it.
To fake something means to make something that isn't true appear to be real. I didn't realise you were so gullible, Rob. And that means easily persuaded to believe something.
I just like to question things.
Oh, I see.
I have a healthy distrust of authority, Alice, and today we're talking about conspiracy theories. A conspiracy theory is a belief that some organisation or group of people is responsible for a situation or event through secret planning.
We'll talk more about how healthy this type of distrust might be later on in the show. But now, please focus your intellectual powers on today's quiz question, Rob. Around what proportion of the US population believes that the assassination of President John F. Kennedy was not the result of a lone gunman? Is it A, 6%, B, 16%, or C, 60%?
I'll go for B, 16%.
Well, we'll find out if you chose the right answer later on in the programme. But for now, let's move on. Let's talk about what types of people are thought to be susceptible to or likely to be influenced by conspiracy theories.
The stereotype is of a loner, maybe male, middle-aged, sitting in front of the computer. But in actual fact, this isn't true. People of all ages and from all social classes are susceptible to conspiracy theories. Lots of us worry that important things are being covered up. And a cover-up means an attempt to prevent the public from discovering information about something important.
Let's listen now to Professor Chris French from Goldsmiths, a college within the University of London, talking more about people who believe in conspiracy theories.
There are quite a few personality dimensions that seem to be related to belief in conspiracy theories, and not surprisingly, paranoia is one of them. Also, openness to new ideas, people who are willing to entertain ideas that are kind of off the beaten track. People who believe in conspiracy theories tend to believe in the paranormal.
That was Professor Chris French. So he says that paranoia is a personality trait or quality that leads some people to believe in conspiracy theories.
Paranoia is a strong and unreasonable feeling that other people don't like you or want to harm you.
And ideas that are off the beaten track are those which are unusual and aren't shared by many other people.
Believing in the paranormal means believing in strange things that can't be explained by science. For example, ghosts.
Ghosts, yes. Do you believe in them, Alice?
No, Rob, I don't. How about you?
Well, maybe.
Moving on, most of the time believing in conspiracy theories is quite harmless and might even be good, because we shouldn't just accept everything we're told. But there can also be serious consequences. Let's hear more from Professor French on this.
Studies have shown that people are less likely to engage with the political process. People who accept medically based conspiracies are likely to avoid getting their kids vaccinated. And even terrorist acts. It's been shown that terrorist groups will actually use conspiracy theories as both a means to get new recruits and also to motivate people to carry out extreme terrorist acts.
So the toothpaste thing I mentioned at the beginning of the show is a medically based conspiracy theory?
Yes.
But more serious examples are parents choosing not to vaccinate their children against diseases because of unsubstantiated ideas that they are harmful. Unsubstantiated means not supported by evidence.
That's right. OK, now, remember the question I asked earlier, Rob? Around what proportion of the US population believes that the assassination of President John F. Kennedy wasn't the result of a lone gunman? Is it A, 6%, B, 16%, or C, 60%?
Well, I said B, 16%.
And you were wrong today, Rob, I'm afraid. The answer is actually C, 60%. And this statistic comes from a Gallup poll from 2013 that suggests a clear majority of Americans still believe others, besides the gunman Lee Harvey Oswald, were involved.
That's more than I expected. But they might have a point.
There you go again. Come on, Rob. Now let me remind everybody what words we've heard today. They are to fake something, gullible, conspiracy theory, susceptible, cover up, trait, paranoia, off the beaten track, paranormal, unsubstantiated.
That's the end of today's 6-Minute English. Please join us again soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
6-Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello, this is 6-Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Beth. Can you keep a secret, Neil? Or are you someone who spills the beans? That's an idiom meaning to tell people a secret.
I'm pretty good at keeping secrets, Beth. Unless it's giving away the ending of a movie, I'm always doing that.
Whether you find it hard to keep secrets or take them with you to the grave, keeping secrets is often considered something bad. But what if some secrets could actually make your life better?
Now, psychological studies are uncovering a more positive side to secrets, suggesting that keeping good news to yourself can actually make you feel more alive, especially if you plan to share your secret with someone later. In this programme, we'll be discussing the advantages of keeping secrets and, as usual, we'll be learning some useful new vocabulary as well.
But first, I have a question for you, Neil. One very famous secret is the recipe for the world's favourite soft drink, Coca-Cola. While travelling in Indonesia, BBC TV presenter Joanna Lumley believes she discovered the unknown secret ingredient. So, is Coca-Cola's secret spice A, cinnamon, B, nutmeg, or C, ginger?
Well, I don't know, so I'm going to guess it's nutmeg.
OK, I'll reveal the secret at the end of the programme. This year, a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology introduced a new term to the discussion, positive secrets. Here, the study's author, Dr. Michael Slepian of Columbia University, discusses positive secrets with BBC World Service programme Newsday.
Yeah, so what's interesting about the idea of positive secrets is, there's a set of them where the plan is to never reveal them. We might say a guilty pleasure is something we enjoy but don't want to tell other people about. And then there's other secrets that the whole point of keeping them secret is to reveal them. The surprising marriage proposal, the pregnancy announcement, unwrapping a gift that you've wrapped.
Dr. Slepian distinguishes between positive and negative secrets. Negative secrets hurt people and damage relationships. They're like a guilty pleasure, an activity you really enjoy doing, but which also gives you a feeling of guilt or shame for doing it.
Positive secrets, on the other hand, include things like marriage proposals, the act of asking someone to marry you. Revealing positive secrets lets us share and celebrate those things with others. In fact, the whole point of positive secrets is to reveal them. Here, the phrase "the whole point" is used to mean the most important reason or purpose for something.
Because positive secrets give us the feeling we are in control of our emotions, they energize us. However, Dr. Slepian's research comes from the United States. Would the results be the same in other cultures and countries? Here's Dr. Slepian again talking with BBC World Service programme Newsday.
some cultures, it is said that if it's a good news, especially around pregnancy, don't share it till the time, it's safe, because they feel that it may lead to some negative vibes, evil eye, as many people call it. Is that also a part of what you found why people keep secret? Are there any kind of cultural influences when they keep the good secrets and the positive secrets?
Yeah, it's interesting you bring this example because we're studying it right now. We have this intuition that pregnancy and secrets around pregnancy in earlier periods, that it looks more like a burdensome secret, and when it's later and people feel comfortable discussing it, more like positive secrets.
In some cultures, secrets about pregnancy are related to the evil eye, a superstition in which someone causes injury or bad luck through a look. It could be bad luck to reveal a pregnancy too early, and Dr. Slepian calls these secrets burdensome, meaning worrying, troublesome, or distressing.
It seems secrets do vary from culture to culture, but what everyone wants to know is the missing ingredient in Coca-Cola. So, come on, Beth, tell us the secret answer to your question.
Okay. I asked about TV presenter Joanna Lumley, who thinks she's found out Coca-Cola's secret spicy ingredient.
Well, I guessed that it was nutmeg.
And that was the correct answer. Good guess, Neil. Travelling in Indonesia, Joanna noticed lots of nutmeg being grown and asked who was buying it, only to be told Coca-Cola. OK, let's recap the vocabulary we've learnt from this programme, starting with the idiom spill the beans, meaning to reveal a secret.
A guilty pleasure is something you really enjoy doing, but which also gives you a feeling of guilt or shame.
A marriage proposal is the act of asking someone to marry you.
The phrase, the whole point of something, describes the most important reason or purpose for it.
The evil eye is a superstition in which someone causes injury or bad luck through a look.
And finally, the adjective burdensome means worrying, troublesome or distressing. Once again, our 6 minutes are up, but I'll tell you a secret. You can join us again next time for more topical vocabulary here at 6 Minute English. Goodbye for now.
Bye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello, this is 6 Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Rob.
As well as bringing the world to a halt, the coronavirus epidemic has led to an increase in misinformation, lies and conspiracy theories on the internet.
In an era of fake news, where even the President of the United States is accused of spreading misinformation, could it be that we are living through a crisis in trust? What is trust? And who should we place our trust in? These are some of the questions we'll be discussing in this programme.
And we'll be hearing from a philosopher who believes the problem is not about trust itself, but about trustworthiness, the ability to be trusted as being honest and reliable.
And, as always, we'll be learning some related vocabulary along the way. Of course, telling lies and lacking trustworthiness is nothing new. Just think of the Trojan horse used to trick the ancient Greeks.
More recently, the American financier Bernie Madoff became infamous as the biggest swindler in history. In 2009, he was sentenced to 150 years in prison for his part in the Ponzi scam. But how much did he defraud from investors? That's my quiz question. Was it A, $6.5 million, B, $65 million, or C, $65 billion?
I'll say B, $65 million.
OK, Rob, we'll come back to that later. Generally speaking, trust can be described as a judgment that someone can be believed and relied upon. When we trust each other, it makes life easier, quicker and friendlier.
Society can't function without trust. So does that mean the more trust, the better?
Well, not according to philosopher Honora O'Neill. Here he is speaking to David Edmonds, presenter of the BBC World Service programme, The Big Idea.
We have another word which is gullible, and if you simply place trust indiscriminately without making a judgment about whether the other person or institution is trustworthy, then just trusting to luck, as we say, is probably not a virtue.
There's a difference between trusting someone because you have good reason to believe them and being gullible. That's easy to deceive because you trust and believe people too quickly.
If you don't judge who is trustworthy and who is not, you are trusting to luck, simply believing or hoping that things will happen for the best.
But being gullible and trusting to luck is exactly how Bernie Madoff was able to trick so many people into giving him their money. Their biggest mistake was to trust him indiscriminately, in a way that does not show care or judgment, usually with harmful results.
So, if indiscriminately trusting people is such a bad idea, how do we avoid it? How can we tell who is trustworthy and who is not? Here's the BBC World Service's Big Idea presenter David Edmonds asking Honora O'Neill to give some details.
An individual or organisation is trustworthy if they can justifiably be trusted. To be trustworthy, they need 3 ingredients. First, honesty. People have to be able to believe what they're told. Second, competence. Beyond honesty and competence, there's a third element to trustworthiness: reliability.
That's the boring one. That's just being honest and competent each time, so that it's not enough to be episodically honest and competent for some of the things you claim to be able to do, but not others.
Philosopher Honora O'Neill identifies 3 ingredients for trustworthiness: honesty, competence and reliability.
Competence means the ability to do something well. You would trust a car mechanic to fix your broken car engine, but you wouldn't go to them for dental work. They're not competent to remove your tooth like a dentist is.
And you wouldn't trust your dentist to fix your broken down car either. Honora O'Neill also mentions reliability, being trustworthy because you behave well all the time and keep all the promises you make.
It's the combination of these 3, being honest, competent and reliable, that makes someone truly trustworthy.
And not someone like Bernie Madoff, who would run off with your money and entire life savings.
All of which brings me to my quiz question. Do you remember, Rob?
Yeah, I do. You asked how much Bernie Madoff stole from the American investors he lied to. And I said B, $65 million.
But in fact it was C, $65 billion, a lot of money to give to such an untrustworthy man.
So we've been discussing whether there is a crisis of trust and asking how to know who is trustworthy, able to be trusted as honest, competent and reliable.
Placing your trust in someone trustworthy is very different from being gullible, easy to trick because you trust and believe people too quickly.
And it can also be unhelpful to trust things to luck, simply hope or believe that everything will work out for the best.
Both of these problems come about when people trust indiscriminately, in an unsystematic way that does not show care or judgment, usually with harmful results, as Bernie Madoff's victims found out to their cost.
But luckily there are many trustworthy people around, and we can spot them using 3 criteria: honesty, in other words not lying, competence and reliability.
Competence means an ability to do something well, in the correct and effective way.
And reliability means being honest and competent all the time, not just being honest sometimes or reliable in some actions, but not others.
That's all for 6 Minute English. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello, I'm Rob. Welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm joined today by Finn.
Hi, Rob. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Today we're talking about this celebration. It's a Christian festival, but its message of peace among people is universal.
It's a pity that today we're far from that, from a moment of absolute peace and goodwill. Now, goodwill means a cooperative attitude.
But there was once a brief moment in history when the human spirit rose above wars.
Aha, and you must be talking about the Christmas Truce, which happened in World War I in 1914.
It's the perfect occasion to talk about it because this year marks the centenary, the 100-year anniversary, of the start of Britain's involvement in this European conflict. And we'll look at some related vocabulary during the programme. But before we go into this extraordinary event, a question about the First World War, Finn.
Ooh, for me, well, I'm not an expert at the First World War, so we'll see how I do.
I'm sure you'll know the answer to this one. It's about letters. People didn't have email in the early 20th century, so they wrote lots of letters. But do you know how many letters were delivered to the front, the place where the fighting happened, every week? Were there A, 1 million, B, 5 million, or C, an incredible 12 million letters?
Right. Well, I know there were a lot of people at the front, but I'm going to say A, 1 million.
OK, well, as usual, you'll have the answer to that question at the end of the programme. Right, now let's talk about this unofficial truce, which happened 100 years ago in the Western Front of the First World War.
Yes, so a truce is an agreement between people to stop fighting with no winner or loser. Now, it's unofficial, which means it's not authorised by people in a position of authority, in this case, the governments involved in the war. So, the soldiers just decided to simply stop fighting. Now, how was this possible, Rob? How did this happen?
Well, soldiers from both trenches all of a sudden started to fraternise, which means they began to meet each other socially.
And the trenches were big holes dug by soldiers from which they attacked the enemy. Living conditions were terrible in these holes.
This truce might have had something to do with the bad conditions in these trenches. Let's hear what German historian Michael Jürgs has to say about the event. Which expression does he use to describe how the soldiers felt about the war?
I think it happened because they were all well fed up with the war. They were promised to be at home again at Christmas 1914. And after 5 months of the World War, there were already 1 million dead young people, 18, 19, 20 years old. And at Christmas night, the muddy weather became frosty and cold. And then from the German trenches, that sounds unbelievable because always Germans started wars or joined wars. It began the song Silent Night, Holy Night. That was the beginning.
The German historian said the soldiers were fed up with the war, which is an informal way of saying they were bored or annoyed with it.
The war was continuing and they wished they were home with their families. One night it was cold and the German soldiers started to sing a song, a carol.
Yes, a carol is a happy song with a religious element, usually a Christmas song. And the carol they sang was Silent Night, Holy Night.
Yes.
Enough.
That's the carol Silent Night, Holy Night, and it broke the ice between the soldiers. That means it made these men, who didn't know each other personally, more relaxed.
And you know, Rob, I really find it fascinating how spontaneous all of this was.
It was indeed.
So, how did the authorities respond to this?
They didn't like it at all. They banned this sort of fraternising, and it didn't happen again. But not before the soldiers from opposing armies played some football together.
Ah, football?
Yes, they played a match in no man's land. That's a strip of land between enemy sides over which nobody has control. It was the area between the English trench and the German trench.
You know, it's a really nice story, isn't it? It's quite a touching story, Rob.
Yes, and very inspiring. Well, our time is almost up, so let's get the right answer to the quiz question. I asked you how many letters were delivered to the front every week. Now, the options were 1 million, 5 million or 12 million.
And I said 1 million, Rob.
And you were a long way off.
Oh, really?
Yes, the correct answer is C, 12 million letters.
12 million a week?
Yes, a week. By the end of the war, 2 billion letters and 114 million parcels had been delivered to the front. According to statistics, 65 million people around the world fought in this war, which ended in 1918.
That's really quite incredible, Rob.
Some incredible figures there. OK, well, let's remember some of the words that we've explained today.
They were goodwill, centenary, truce, unofficial, trenches, fraternise, fed up with, carol, broke the ice, no man's land.
Thank you, Finn. That's it for today. Do log on to bbclearningenglish.com to find more 6-Minute English programmes. And we wish you all a merry and peaceful Christmas.
That's right. Merry Christmas to all. Bye.
Bye.
6-Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello, this is 6-Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Sam. Predicting the future is not easy, but that's exactly the job of opinion pollsters, researchers who ask people questions to discover what they think about certain topics. Often their aim is predicting which political party will win in an election by asking members of the public how they intend to vote.
But predicting the future is never 100% accurate, and opinion polls don't always get it right. In 2016, few pollsters predicted a victory for Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton in the US presidential election.
And in the 2020 US elections, most polls predicted Trump would lose to Joe Biden by a much larger amount than he actually did. These mistakes, sometimes called misfires, when things do not work in the way intended, have damaged the reputation of opinion pollsters. In this program, we'll be taking a look into the opinion polling industry and, of course, learning some useful vocabulary as well.
But first, I have a question for you, Sam, and it's about another time when the opinion polls got it wrong. Few pollsters predicted that Britain would vote to leave the European Union in the 2016 Brexit referendum, which, in the end, it did. But what was the final split between those who voted to leave and those who wanted to remain? Was it A, 51 leave to 49 remain, B, 52 leave to 48 remain, or C, 52 remain to 48 leave?
I think it was B. 52% voted to leave and 48% to remain.
OK, Sam, I'll reveal the answer at the end of the programme.
One of the biggest polling companies was founded by George Gallup. Born in 1901 on a farm in Iowa, Gallup was a student of journalism. He wanted to know people's opinion on a range of subjects and came up with a simple idea. Why not try asking them? Here's G. Eliot Morris, a data journalist from The Economist, explaining more to BBC World Service programme More or Less.
And he publishes his dissertation on this, how to measure what people want, basically. And he gets hired by a much bigger advertising agency in New York called Young and Rubicam. And they basically give him a blank check to do their research, to figure out how to call people, how to talk to them, to figure out if they remember or liked a certain product, basically to figure out early methodologies in advertising. And then by 1931 or so, he's wondering, well, if it works for toothpaste, why not politics?
George Gallup tried to figure out what customers wanted to buy. If you figure something out, you finally understand it or find a solution to a problem after thinking about it a lot.
Later, he was hired by a New York advertising agency to find out people's opinion of consumer products like toothpaste and soft drinks. George was given a blank check and a limited amount of money and freedom to do his job.
At this time, polling was focused on consumer preferences, not politics. But asking people about their political views is a lot more complicated than asking them about toothpaste. Making accurate election predictions depends on polling a sample group of people who accurately represent the population as a whole. One of the reasons for pollsters' failure to predict Trump's election in 2016 is that they didn't ask enough white, non-college educated voters.
So polling is a very complex process, one which is never totally reliable, according to G. Eliot Morris, speaking again here to BBC World Service's More or Less.
If people were understanding this process that's generating all these polls, then they would understand polls as less sort of precise tools that definitely can't offer the laser-like predictive accuracy we've come to expect from them. Then the difference between polling's expectations and performance wouldn't be so stark.
Opinion polls can estimate the outcome of an election, but they can't give us laser-like accuracy. If you describe something as laser-like, you mean it's very accurate and focused, like a laser.
If people understand how hard it is to predict the future, they might be more realistic about how accurate opinion polls can be. Then differences between a prediction and the final result wouldn't be so stark, obvious and easily visible, or harsh.
Predicting the future is difficult, otherwise everyone would be a lottery winner by now. Maybe it's not opinion polls that are broken, but our desire to know the future that's the problem. OK, it's time to reveal the answer to my question about the Brexit referendum.
I said the final result was 52% for leave and 48% for remain.
Which was the correct answer, and another example of an opinion poll misfire, a situation where something does not work as intended. OK, let's recap the rest of the vocabulary from this programme about opinion pollsters. People who conduct polls asking the public their opinion on particular subjects, especially politics.
If you figure something out, you finally understand it or find the solution to a problem after thinking long and hard about it.
If someone gives you a blank cheque, you have unlimited money and freedom to complete a task.
When you describe something as laser-like, you mean that it's very accurate and precise.
And finally, the adjective stark has several meanings, including obvious, harsh, and plain. Once again, our 6 minutes are up. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.